In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
how will I ever do this on my own?
she thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is Rosa and I am here with a special guest, Rick Bartlett. I met him because of Ricky B's Club Cafe.
Indeed.
So, Rick, you're the owner here. Would you tell us, what is Ricky B's Club Cafe?
Well, Ricky B's is very, very customer-driven entertainment cafe. The piano's right in front of the door, so when you walk in, most times, 99.9% of the time, I'll say hello to you. Mm-hmm. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Or if I know your name like you, I'll say, Rosa, how are you? Thanks for coming in. And so it's very, very customer-driven cafe.
Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean you walk in and all you have is coffee and pastries, right? No. So what can people expect when they step in the door?
Well, it is a full menu, albeit short.
A dinner menu.
A dinner menu, indeed. So there's sea bass, which I guess a lot of people are a little surprised to hear that we have a sea bass. And
not all the cafes we go to have sea bass.
No, exactly, right. So, and it is probably the most popular thing on the menu. So we have fettuccine Alfredo and things like that, not just,
Yes, I had short ribs here about a year ago, and I know you didn't have that here available right now, but you've got a good variety. Let's see, we also had... What else do you have on the menu?
Well,
the airline chicken.
The airline chicken is very, very popular.
That is some of the best chicken I've ever had in my life.
Thank you so much.
So moist, and it's over like a simple bed of vegetables. But look, like you just do something simple really well. That's all you need.
Well, that's I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew.
Right.
So simple.
Yeah.
Simple and to be able to deliver.
Yes,
that product exactly right, and you stumble sometimes, but I'm not these famous chefs and all that sort of thing, so
that's not
keep it super simple. So
that's
just
not your signature offering here is to have a celebrity chef. We have a celebrity entertainment
there you go.
with a dinner.
There you go.
So it's a lot better than a lot of like dinner and a show places you'll go to where the food is kind of subpar, but you're there for the show.
Yes, you're absolutely yes, and that is kind of usual in that genre. It seems
So you're kind of crossing some bridges there.
Yes,
but that sea bass, it has that peach bourbon glaze on it, and that's unique. Like I've seen sea bass a whole lot of places, and so that's really nice. Well, you've got a full bar here.
Indeed, yes. A pretty good bourbon selection with the Weller and the Eagle Rare. We're working on really kind of making the bourbon a signature. The Macallan and the Buffalo Trace, those sort of things. That's kind of been a real focus to me lately, particularly to make sure that the bourbon. We had a bourbon tasting in the Boom Boom Room downstairs. Yeah, it was for the music school, U of L's music school. Oh. So it was a fundraiser for the music school. I attended U of L's music school, and we have several regulars that attended, and we know each other, and so we got this opportunity to really try to help the U of L's music school out. And
that's lovely.
So, yeah, it was great.
I went to music school at Austin Peay State University. I studied voice with Dr. Sharon Mabry. I don't know if you ever crossed paths with her and her husband.
I did not know this about you, Rosa.
Dr. George Mabry, her husband. But
should have gotten you up to sing.
No, it's okay. That's not what it's about. One thing I love about your restaurant here is that while you've got this music, it's part of your experience. It's not any kind of overpowering, and we were able to have a great conversation. We had a table of like around 10 ladies, and we were able to easily converse the whole time and hear what each other was saying without the music being distracting or overpowering or anything like that. And every now and then we'd have to pause and listen like, oh, I love this song.
Yes.
Right? But it was part of the conversation.
And that is really a bridge that I think a great entertainer has to cross, particularly when you're dealing with patrons that are having dinner or some sort of a meal, that you are not a distraction, but an addition to the experience. And I'll say happy birthday and that sort of thing, but really be very mindful of not being overpowering to the patron and having them have the most enjoyable experience that they can with the formula that we've got here. So when I play piano and sing, and of course I play guitar as well, I'm very mindful. You have to be.
And I really appreciate that. It is not lost on your patrons. Let's see. There was something I was going to say about that. What was the Boom Boom room that you mentioned?
Well, it is downstairs. Holds about 50 people. We rent it out. It's got the couches, the kind of the speakeasy feel to it.
Oh, it's like a speakeasy.
It is. Well, I should probably take you down there here in a second just so you can see it.
Pictures and share
Yes, we get a lot of birthday parties, and like I said, we did the bourbon tasting down there.
Okay. Is it only at night available, or do you ever do lunchtime events?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I would not be opposed to that. But it has a clubbier feel. This, where we are now, is more of a dining room feel. But the Boom Boom room has more of a loungy feel.
I love that.
So I will be having a Latin jazz band down there on the 23rd, Thursday evening. We're going to try that out. I've had some DJs down there. So experimenting with that space to see what is the best, use for it.
And one thing I love about this is your maturity in the dining room music space lends itself to you're not trying to just get everybody to listen to you all the time. Like you said, you're having these other musicians come in.
I do.
I heard you talking to your server about that the other night, Miss Katie.
Yes, indeed.
Does she
She's
count
been
as
with
a server? Is she your manager?
She is.
I feel like she's your
she
manager.
She really is. She handles all the social media. Katie and I have known each other for quite a while, and so she's been here with me from the very beginning. She's the one that suggested that I put pictures on the wall. When we first opened, she said, Rick, everybody's asking about you, your history and blah, blah, blah. Bring some stuff in. I thought it was kind of kitschy. No. She said, Rick, bring it in. So I brought a picture of me and Rosemary Clooney because I opened for her at the Palace, and things like that are around the walls, and people actually do get up from the table many times, and maybe they'll go over here to Moritz Baumhard, who was the director of the opera, because I was in the opera, starting out as a senior in high school and then on to U of L. And people are interested. They'll walk up to the picture and say, oh, is that your mom and dad? Yep, that's my dad. He's a Navy man. Things like that. And it really has intrigued people.
So what you want to give us kind of a synopsis of what your background is that led up to you starting this?
Okay, sure, certainly. Obviously, very, very young, it was revealed very quickly that I had a superior singing ability. And my mom played piano and sang, and so she was our choir director. And so I was about 14 or 15, and she goes, gosh, Rick, you're awful good. I said, I know, Mom, blah, 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 blah.
I know, Mom. I'm great.
It was pretty obvious, It was a blessing, from God. And she goes, look, I think you ought to take voice lessons. Oh, great, Mom. That's a great idea. She goes, well, I think you ought to pay for them, too.
Okay.
So I had to get a job.
Can I just say I love your mom? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I got a job, and I started taking voice lessons. And then, went to the University of Louisville as a voice performance major. And they made me play piano. And lo and behold, I had a knack at piano. I thought, oh, this is neat.
Not everybody can play it and sing at the same
right,
time.
Exactly. So I went on, and so I started doing TV and radio jingles because I went to a lecture at U of L. And so that's how my career started, really, as a jingle singer. So I'd go back and forth.
Were you writing the jingles?
No, I was singing them.
You were just singing them?
Yes.
Okay.
So Cincinnati was the richest market, so I'd go to Cincinnati 3 or 4 times a week to sing jingles. So then, they're
not just at Christmas.
No, they're seasonal though. So on the downtimes, I said, so I started into club work here in Louisville, and so then my club career took off, and so I did that for quite some time, and then about 35 years old or so, I decided to really bear into the piano and make that part of my experience as a professional, and then all of a sudden I'm a solo artist. So right at that point, I got a job in New York, so I didn't have to play piano because I was singing with a big band.
Wow.
So I did that on Times Square there in a place called the Supper Club. So I did that. So when I came back to Louisville, all of a sudden I was a piano player.
Yeah, you were.
And a singer, I left and I came back. And so I've always kind of wanted a place of my own. And I did actually have a place called Rick's Piano on Theater Square for about 3 years. That was 96 to like 99 or so.
So you've done this before.
I did. That was more of a
like,
club, though, as opposed to the food aspect.
Okay, this is like the 2.0 version.
It is, kind of honed in on the concept a little more.
Okay.
So here I am, and I love it. Actually, I love it.
Yeah.
I really.
Well,
do.
I do too, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's great that you love it because it's so easy to get. I know I get really wrapped up in the whimsical idea that I have, and I have all this energy and impetus. I love to start things, but to not just finish, but to establish yourself in something that's an ongoing project like this that has a demand on you every day.
It does.
Like you had to know for sure that you want to do this every day. So.
Yes. Well, I'm an older guy, but I've been blessed with my health and my strength. I've been into fitness since I was about 35, so I'm 67 now.
Well, no wonder you look so
and
fit.
I just really enjoyed fitness, and now, I'm on the at the place where it's a maintenance phase, so I only do it 3 times a week, and not nearly as intensely as I did when I was younger. And so the result is I do maintain my health, and so it's not drudgery for me.
Yes.
I just have to keep my energy level up, and I do. So there you go.
That does help. We were just talking, my friend and I were just talking about how she's like, I don't want to work out. And I'm like, but you need to move enough that your body doesn't
you got to just get your blood moving.
Where your blood doesn't feel like sludge. Exactly. And then you even sleep better because because you exerted yourself a little
really
bit.
Do,
like 30 minutes a day or something.
Something.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own business? What's something that once you got started, you're like, man, I wish I had known this before?
Well, I don't know for any specific. I think anytime you go into something, particularly if it is really large, I think that knowing your motivation and your purpose. My motivation, for instance, is my granddaughter, who is my first grandchild, and our special relationship and what I would like to leave for her as a legacy, monetarily, personally, character-wise. And so when the daily things come up that you're really shocked almost every day into making some decision or something happening, there's all these shocks all the time.
With your granddaughter or with the business?
With the business.
Oh, with the business. Okay.
With the business.
Rolling with the punches.
Yes, and there's always punches. Sometimes you can get discouraged what is your motivation? Is it strong enough? Does it carry the strength and the power to move you forward? So to come up with a specific, gosh, I wish I had known that. It's really hard for me personally to come up with that.
Because you knew your why from the beginning.
Yeah,
and that's what
I knew
carried you through.
if I'm fortunate enough to live long enough, what would I want to give her? Because I don't know what the future is. I don't know if I'll live long enough. But if I did, what would I want to leave this little girl about her grandfather that could give her fuel? Now, obviously, my other grandkids as well.
Now.
But we have this. Yeah. She was the first, and so it awakened that you have a legacy here, sir. And what are you going to leave?
Yeah. Now, just to clarify, this is rarely revolving around you. So if you're not here to run Ricky B's Club Cafe, what would you be leaving for her? Just a memory?
I think a memory of my focus, of integrity, of reaching beyond wherever you are, and reaching boldly beyond where you are into your future.
I love that. I love that so much. And that's one thing I admire so much about all these business owners that I've been meeting over the last year and a half is they're all stepping so far outside their comfort zone to leave the safety of being an employee to step out and do something new that's maybe a new idea, or it's just new to them. But
all those things that urge you onward, and all those things that maybe you may not like doing, and making the decision to do them as if you loved them.
Right.
And you don't like them at all.
Right. But it's a step towards your goal.
Exactly.
And you love your goal.
Exactly right.
And you love the idea of getting to your end
So
product.
do that thing you don't like so much as if you actually love doing it.
Because it's part of the process.
It's not that easy a thing, but it is what it is.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Rick.
Thank you,
It's nice
Rosa.
to get to hear you talk. So if you come to Ricky B's Club Cafe, you'll get to hear him sing and play the piano, maybe guitar.
And maybe Rosa might sing.
I mean, now I might. If you would just sweet talk me a little bit. Okay. Well, come check it out. It's on Brownsboro Road.
2901.
Would we call this Upper Brownsboro Road?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's right near Zorn Avenue, right there, close to the corner of Zorn and
that's a good landmark.
Brownsboro.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.